automata theory without going through the formal languages. And from here, we'll be asking ourselves a question. We see something, we call it a language, and in language is made up of several things. The major building block of any language is not any alphabet, and you can't have any language without the words, and you can't have any language without, you can't speak any language without making a sentence. And as it goes on and on, that is the same thing that is applied here. Definitely the purpose of this particular course is to introduce the students to the programming language as it stands, where we'll be meeting later, which is automata theory, which means the theory of automatic machine. Now, if we are talking of automatic machine, which means that the machine is working on its own without being controlled by somebody. And for a machine to work on its own, it must have been programmed. And for you to program a particular machine, you must need a language to use for the programming. And just as I've said earlier, without the programming language, without the sentence, without the words and the alphabet, a language cannot be complete. In fact, there will be no language. So because of that, we now look at what is this language. Now, when you are asking this question, I've taken the explanation. As a computer science students, you now have to look at it in another dimension, because you are narrowing it down to your own use. Now we'll say that an alphabet, which is the major building block of any language, is a finite set of symbols. Now, what does that mean? That a language which is an alphabet, the meaning of that final set of symbols or letters simply means that you can't just pick anything and put into a language for it to recognize that it has a designation, it has the beginning, and it has its own end. Now, for a computer, we make use of digits, and alphabets, because when we are looking at this, we are considering the compiler. And in the other courses that one must have come across, you'll now see that a compiler is a particular land. Now, but when you now look further, you now say, okay, when you are now combining this particular alphabets, or you call it vocabulary, it's the combination of this alphabet. That is where you get vocabulary. In English, in computer science or in programming, those words, instead of you calling them words, when two alphabets or these symbols together to form anything, it is called string. Now, and we call it a string because of the function it performs. Now, but here, when we make use of 0 and 1, we call it binary string. Now, but in some cases, you remember that I said that these ones are finite. Now, since they are...
Sorry, sir. Please count.
Finite, you can also get infinite. Yes. Somebody trying to say something? Or should I continue?
No, continue.
It's okay. Thank you. Now, saying combination of alphabets forms a string. Now, because of that, we now say that a string is a finite sequence of symbols that are chosen from a set or alphabet. Now remember that these our alphabets can be, it's just, you can call them alphabets because they are chosen to do a particular thing of from a particular set. It can be, or it can be a number from 1 to 0, or sorry, from 1 to 10. You call them your alphabets because those are the numbers you want to use. You can choose from 0 and 1, or you can choose 0 and 1 depending on the code you want to use. Now, just as we can see here, let me know if my this thing can share the screen. Sorry, let me try sharing the screen. Said earlier, I'm not using the same device. I'm using another system to share the screen while I'm using another device to do this thing. So that is it. Okay, let me share the screen now. Okay, let me share the screen now.
But because you don't know the music you are playing, this is like just that just from gospel and go to
Look at this particular environment. Okay, let's look at it. Okay, this is where we were. Okay, this is where we were. Look at where is the way they say, for example, if we use binary alphabet, remember that binary alphabet is 0 and 1. Now, when there is it's possible that in every language that somebody may be silent. That is why you have space when you are writing. In English, the empty in English is space. And you make spaces. It, thing here is empty. That is an empty string. It's possible that every string you have is you must have every alphabet has an empty string. Now we now look at this that because of the fact that we don't know all the names and all the codes that are possibly coming up, you now represent them, you call them variables.
Please,
Now, remember that variable
the
in
screen, your screen
programming,
has to disconnected though.
variable, okay, I'm reconnecting it again. Okay, okay,
When they finish, the cameraman or the man there
it's
does not know
it's
what to ask questions, whether it's the tribe or the female. So he will keep
Not
quiet.
yet.
you
Not
see the
yet.
screen. Are you seeing the
So
screen?
No, sir.
when they are asking
No,
questions,
sir.
because they will accept to explain without questions.
Now,
You answer the question.
Yes, we
now
can
you
see
can see
it.
the screen. I think
Yes,
you can see
yes,
the
yes,
screen. I
yes.
think I can see it from the next
We can
thing I'm
see it.
using
I can
to
see it. Hold on.
So
I
to
can see it.
monitor.
Hold on. I can
you
see
leave
it.
it on that person because as the language is person in another
Now,
language,
for the fact that we have some words,
the value of the
for the
language
fact for the fact that we have some
will
words,
entertain. As it's not yet, that's what the person is using now.
those
You
words
know that it can
that you know
possibly
that
come up.
it can possibly come up,
Go back to the
they
variables.
are called variables.
When it's time to ask questions, you go back to the manual question. Sorry, what is this?
And these variables,
So this one is actually the instruction set of the language is simple. And it's what they call the NACOS. It must not be sleeping. You have to play program by 11 and you slept off. You now wake up. Sometimes I don't wake up. What is good about the mind? You're speaking now with your heart. You are welcome. How are you? I thought you were carrying us along. No, I trust you. I just wanted to release you. Just don't want to come to my room. I think for the person.
God, they go out.
Then you have make sure you don't want to come tomorrow. Your friend is listening.
No bring car. What's your car? It is
He's
start.
back underground cocoa.
Guy, you don't walk out from Jalen Jikonye. Country.
Going around. That's why somebody will be talking, the guy will be talking, and five people will be laughing at it and they will keep it at it. So we need to know. So we start to do that. Because in that now we need to get the expression of people to a particular community. So if you are carrying camera in hand, you did so. By the time you are rolling your hand, people for you is laughing.
in a source code, it is known as string literal.
ETR. ETR.
Now let's go down to the meaning of formal theory proper. What do we say that the formal theory mean? Because ordinarily we have been looking at, okay, automata, we are going there. But for us to get to automata, we are trying to look at how we get to the automata, which is the theory of automatic machine. And a machine cannot work without you knowing the formal languages or the formal theories involved. Now, a language in computer are those words, the combination of words, strings, and vocabularies which the computer understands. So that is what is called a language. For the fact that computer can understand it, it is a language. Now, you can say let a summation be an alphabet. Alphabet should be a non-empty finite set. Remember, I've defined what finite set is all about. Finite sets or these alphabets are called symbols or characters. They now say that, okay, remember that I've explained what this is all about. Alphabet. We are using the though the meaning may not be exact, but is similar. So because of that, we now have to say that the set of all strings, the set of all string over the summation, over the set, over the
So
finite set
ó ti pé
of length n. Now,
náà ṣó ti
this
pé
is what we need to
iṣu
know now,
ó láwọn bọ̀.
because we may get to be hearing these sets
Monday
or
gan ló yẹ kó
string
wá kó kàn
sets
wá sàn
or
Monday ò lè kó
string
ní gbogbo
length.
wa ni.
We'll be hearing it. The length simply
Monday
means
gan tó ń fọ tó ń dá àmàrà táìmù tó máa dé náà ló ti tó.
numbers,
ní oge Monday ò yẹ kó
as
kàn
in
wá kó kàn wá
the
sàn bí ó sì mọ̀ lọ́wọ́ àti
the
mọ̀
number
bí
of
wà kó kàn wá
alphabets
sàn ó
in
wá
a
dúró.
string. I don't know if you are getting what I'm saying. That this alphabet, sorry, this string. When okay, let me now say, let me make use of English.
Unos, I can't hear you.
If you use this particular word, come, if it is containing 000 or 001, the string length is 3, and so on. If there is no string, it means that it is empty, which is represented by summation 0. If the string is 2 in length, it is represented by summation 2, which means that you have 2 alphabets in that string. Now, the set of all strings, remember, the set of all strings over a particular alphabet of any length is the clean closure. Now let me explain. All these words that are made up, or let me say in English, if you say that you
Hello, hello. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
all all is denoted by V plus. Hello.
Yes, we are with you. We are with you, sir.
Hi.
Please, if you can still hear me.
We can't hear.
Yeah,
Hey.
we can hear you clearly.
All right. I don't know if we are getting connected. If you are getting the
I getting it, sir.
Yeah, we are getting it. We are
please,
getting it, definitely.
um, yes. If we have our materials, we are going through it. By now, we should be able to uh, on particular pointings now. If you can see my screen, you can see that the set of all the set of all non-empty strings is donator of a particular element denoted by this V plus. You now get a positive output. Assuming that X is an element of enclosure. Remember that I said that a enclosure is the total element, including the empty string, the total string, including the empty string in this particular alphabet that you've chosen. Then XY, that X will say if X is element of closure and Y is element the same clean closure of is also a clean closure of the same alphabet or of a set containing this. Let's say that from alphabet A to Z, you have A and D, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now, when you now say that AB, am I correct? Multiplication in multiplication of strings from the same set of alpha the multiplication of of strings in a set. It is the same set, but those strings that come from that set, when you are multiplying them to form a longer word or a longer string is called concatenation. Remember, I repeat that two strings of alphabet from the same set multiplying themselves to form a longer string called nation. Now, Let's look at these ones here. Let's look at the exercise that we have here. The exercise says determine the following steps. 0, 1. This is a binary set. Now another one is the set. This particular set is multiplying this. The first set 0 and 1, 0 1 is multiplying the set of A and B, A, B, A. Now, this one now, for you to get all the elements, you must have to use the first set to multiply the other to multiply the other set. The first element multiply the other set. You now use the second element to multiply all other sets to be able to get other string. Now we move ahead to alphabet of a string. I'm trying to make use of our time. Because of our time, I will be trying I will try to be as fast as possible, even though I will try to explain much. Because if you don't get the basics, you may not be able to follow through. Now we now look at alphabet of a string. What is alphabet of a string? We've said earlier that the combination of alphabet forms a string. And when we are mentioning alphabet, we are not looking at English alphabet as their own alphabet. So the general name for the words for the letters one by one is alphabet. So the letters or those alphabets that are contained in that string, those letters or alphabet, the list of all the letters that are contained in that string. Let's use for instance, if our string here from 0 and 1, we are able to get different strings. We were able to get 000 as one string, 001 as another string, 010 as another string, 011 as another string, 100 as another string, 101 as a string, 110 as a string, 111 as a string. Now, elements of this string or the alphabet of this string are this 100. This thing. Let me say we are using the only string of 000. The elements are the 0, like 111. Now, if you are asked to get the third element, that is the element with the length 3, it simply means you should get 000 or 001. It simply means that you should get the element that has three different alphabets. This 0 and 1 with raised to power 3 and means you should write out the letters or the string with 3 letters or with 3 alphabets, and that is what we discussed earlier as the length of a string. So, as I was trying to explain earlier, the alphabet of a string is a list of all the letters that occur in a particular string. Now, what is string substitution? When you have a string, when you have an alphabet and a language, okay, let's just put it this way. In English language, you can, there is what is
What's up,
called
guys?
similar
Welcome back
in
to the
meaning.
channel. Today's video is going to inspire you. I mean, I'm somewhere in
Effectively,
Lekki and I'm about
in
to meet the founder of Kids Place Barbershop,
a
one of
sentence,
the most luxurious barbershop you're going to like
that
see in
is
your
what
life.
similar.
He has an amazing story.
The same
And guess
thing
what?
in
After
English or in
Nigeria,
computer science,
and
those
he's going to
words
share his story with us.
that you
So
can
the way
use or
that
those
what has
strings
done so
you
far,
can
I
use
guarantee that
particular
it's going
word or a
to
particular
inspire you.
string
Alright,
is
let's just go ahead
called
and make it
the
short.
process of substitution
Welcome, guys.
or
Hi, guys. So this right here is Kofe. He's the CEO, MD, whatever you call yourself, of the Case Based
I
International
may
Brand.
not go forth much
So
in
I
it.
mean, when I actually went
I'm
online
I
to
will
check your
mention while
story, I
presenting
was like, the world actually
the
you need to
PowerPoint.
hear this. All right. So what I actually
I've
like to do
already
is actually go through your
explained
profile, you telling us your story,
I've
and
already
which companies
explained
have
what
amazing
is
business inside of Nigeria. Just give us like a walkthrough because I see like there are
con-
so many departments, there are so many sections. So just for people that don't know what actually happens right here in Case Place, just take us through and show us around. Let's just get
coordination,
acquainted with the environment, guys. I know you guys are curious, you want to see it, right? So let's go.
which
First of all, this something to entertain our
I
clients. Okay.
said
I mean, wow, this is
that
also
of
really good with you.
S is a mean and is containing hog. HUG. Then, if you want to concatenate this, just read the word or the word that represents this S.
Problem pé chájà yìí ni problem.
Remember, because
Ọkọ ṣe kò tẹ̀ wá tán mọ́ lọ. Mo lè yí sí ṣáàjì mẹ́rin láìpẹ́ yìí.
of variable which I say
Ó máa ń rí bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn.
A ní mo drop ẹ̀ lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí. Mo lè máa gbé pé tó mo drop ẹ̀ yín lẹ́.
can use to substitute. Now, this particular now, see, but it's not then. Look, in concatenation, when you say GS,
Let's douse the church. We need to calm down.
it comes last. Let's look at this way that S is equal to, for instance, if S was empty and T is off, and you are asked to concatenate SD, is simply hog because S was represented with empty and empty is empty. Now, therefore, they said clean closure. Remember, I said clean closure is the summation of all the possible strings from a set of alphabets. And that is to say, the clean closure, the set of clean closure and the concatenation operation forms a monoid. That is to say, when you multiply any set with an empty set, it forms what is called a monoid. That is the free monoid generated by E, which is this generated by the set, which is to say this particular S that is produced by the multiplication of S
We are not seeing
string
your screen again, no.
with element with empty set is called a monoid. Now we are looking at what is a string, a
Have you
substring.
disconnected your screen, sir?
A state or a string is said to be substring if there exists possibly empty strings U and V such that T is equal to USV. If I have made this thing